Gaz, would that be your Port Melbourne's worst performance under your charge?
Yeah, and we're all responsible for that ball too, because the buck stops with me and starts with me, so to speak. So, yeah, they were awesome out there. I thought Geelong today, they looked very much like a side that could go back-to-back premiers, really, and we had some sort of competitive effort in the first quarter, but once that competitive effort went out the door, we were basically dismantled with a reasonable amount of ease by Geelong. And you know, there were times where we could hold and stem their flow, but it wasn't really for long periods of time. And yeah, what was it, 80 points I think in the end, something like that. So that's a very big loss, a very big loss. And disappointing because we never got going. Last week's was more disappointing in that we lost a winnable game, but this week we're just never really in the hunt after about the first 10 to 15 minutes.
Where in particular did you felt they got you, Gary?
Well, you always strip it back, Paul, and I think they were much more competitive than what we were in a lot of areas. Their skill level was much higher. It's probably a little bit of the old full-time footballer versus the part-time footballer. Their run, their ability to spread forward really quickly with their speed, I thought was really noticeable, especially their ability to get a +1 and then across our half-forward line, which is a dangerous area to turn the ball over, they would then just go with sheer foot skills and speed and get deep inside their forward 50 with their goal side run. And their ability to actually get outside the inner perimeter where our stronger bodies can generally be okay. Once they got outside, we couldn't get them.
What did you tell the players after the game?
It's a crossroads of where the club goes right now, and we'll look at it in its entirety and look at what we believe we need to do to get that real competitive spirit back. And it's a total group thing, so it starts with me. And the decisions will be made along the lines of form and what we can do to arrest the slide. So it's a fairly simple approach, but one that's needed. And this has probably been coming for a bit. When you think about our performances, even though we won 5 in a row, I didn't think we were playing at the top of our game. And then to lose that one last week, we've probably been masking a little bit of the underbelly of where some of our guys are at and what the club now needs to do. So I think it's a real crossroad position for us right now as a team to not only get up and win next week, but also to going into our 6th final series in a row, supposedly.
Gaz, who you got to come into the side?
You got Nathan Batsanis, who didn't play today, so he'll get a game in. He'll come in next week. Matty Smith's been pretty good in the development team. Paddy McMahon's, leg speed. Paddy McMahon's been pretty good as one of our young ruckmen. And Nick Papaleo's another young boy that's had a bit of a taste of it. So I think we really need to engender some speed, real leg speed. So those guys that are quick will come into the side.
Magpies will be a tough challenge at Vic Park.
Yeah, well, they holded that slide or that run last year when we were going for whatever it was, 27 or 28 in a row. But it's funny, that seems like a long time ago. And so, yeah, we need to. And there's no histrionics here or carrying on. It's just about getting back to what we need to do, and that's analyse and really look deeply into what we've got as far as playing personnel.
Not a happy homecoming to Geelong for you, Gaz?
Well, some of the supporters are remembering me after all these years, but no, you'd certainly like to be walking away winner, but they were just far too good for us today, far too good.
Any of your best? Any worth mentioning?
I thought Dan Noonan actually stood up to the avalanche of pressure that he was under today. I thought young Tommy Gordon was in a similar state, and young Tim McMillan. So Tim's second game at this level, and he continues to be quite cool and composed under pressure, and quite frankly there'd be a massive amount of pressure out there. Some of our older guys tried hard. Johnny Baird tried hard, Toby Pimmel tried hard, Shane Valenti tried hard, but when you're comprehensively beaten, it's nice to see actually some of the kids who stood up tall.
Unusual situation, first of all, as we talk about the result of this game, having to play the same side 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, well, to our good fortune, we've won both weeks, so I'm pretty happy with those two results, mate.
Really, the game was set up in the first quarter, 8-1, and the blistering speed the side put on early.
Yeah, look, we had some really good performances. Paddy McMahon took over in the ruck early. Our midfield was dominant with Tom O'Sullivan and Batsy and Hooter O'Farrell. And so, all good signs with those boys pushing for senior selection, eh?
Game changed slightly, seemed to slow down a bit in the second quarter, and as a result, for the remaining three quarters, North Ballarat outscored us 10-9, but the boys still had the game in control.
Yeah, my word. Look, I was probably a bit disappointed in the last quarter, but they put a lot behind the ball and we just overused it a little bit, weren't real smart sometimes with our delivery into the forward line, but in all intents and purposes, our endeavour and our forward pressure and our 1%ers were pretty good.
Good to see a good performance from the back six, solid today.
Yeah, Hammond was outstanding, centre back, and Purcell, well, he's Mr. Fix-It and he just gets his job done. Mark Johnson, Papaleo back there, they were all very good.
One slight injury concern, Nathan Batsanis copped a knock to the head late in the final quarter.
Yeah, look, I had a chat to Batsy after. It was a knock in the eye, which are always a bit hard, but he's come back okay and he should be all right. Masudi was the other one, had a bit of a corky, but not too bad.
Interesting clash next week. It's Sunday morning, 11 a.m. as a standalone game at Northport Oval up against Frankston, who, despite their senior form, their development league side have been going okay.
Yeah, they're reasonably strong in the development, so that'll test our boys. But if we can keep a bit of this good form going, get the boys up and positive about where we're going to next, we should be able to do quite well, I think.
And positive signs are possibly another 2 or 3 wins should put a finals appearance in the bag.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've got a couple of chances in the next few weeks. So before the bye, if we can get another couple of wins, we'll be looking reasonable shape.
And just quickly, obviously the disappointing performance yesterday in the seniors. Would there be a few throwing their hands up and maybe thrown into the mix for the game against Collingwood at VFL level?
Yeah, my word, I reckon Toby Plant hasn't done himself any harm by his performance today. A few others in the midfield as well, and a couple of forwards were all right. So, yeah, Gary's got something to think about this week.
Borough TV is a Port Melbourne Football Club production.